We started by identifying a series of different categories of reference support. A dictionary, to use today's language, which would mean something concise and quick. Well, I think I remember that. I just need a real quick hit to kind of refresh and remind me. A thesaurus, author's notes, something where an author would like to elaborate on what they meant. Biographical information in the context of this being about a person. Etymological information about word roots, which is something people are very fascinated with in certain circles. Quotations, citations, bibliographic information. Speech, voice, music, different types of sounds that would be called in to support. Alternative languages, so that somebody could jump between English and Spanish or German or French at the piece part level that I'm describing. Encyclopedia-like elaborations, where people would be able to go into a much more extended range and pursue a much deeper understanding than some kind of quick support to allow them to continue their flow. Images would color black and white depending on the hardware and platform, but various images that might support them. Animations, video, simulations, or other types of reference support. So the idea of situationally relevant menus here is that if, for example, I have these three different types of materials available for a word, I just clicked on that word, then the menu highlights, quick reference menu highlights, and this reflects the fact that, as I just indicated, we have a dictionary, biographical information, and sound. So that it becomes immediately obvious what's available, what its class is, what its different type is, to support whatever it was we're uncertain or curious about. Let me demonstrate that in the actual. I'll come back and describe these two funnels at some other time in the talk today, but this is really critical to me, understanding how these two processes work. It very much is like there's this very, very small little tube between this huge cement slab in which there's experiencers on one side and designers on the other, and that tube doesn't permit much, and that's one of the things that we're all about, is trying to change that. This is the learner interface with some content in it. This happens to be a piece of text out of an Earth grade Earth Science 5th grade textbook. It deals with the theme of gravity, as it's articulated currently in a textbook. Now, what I just did was click on the word gravity, and when I did that, let me go back and do that again so that we can catch that. I clicked on the word gravity. It said just a moment. The quick reference indicator up here flashed. When I pulled it down, it said there's a dictionary, and there's encyclopedia, and there's sound. So when I clicked on encyclopedia, or let go on encyclopedia, it was immediately presented to me down here. Now, some people out there that are more technically adept with how things are processed are going to wonder, well, how can you do this from a technical standpoint, the mediation, the data flow, and what have you. We're awfully fast in how we can bring these chunks in. And we're not going to be able to talk too much about that today, because that's part of the proprietary side of this. I would like to stay on, forgetting about how the technology at the other line, forgetting about the underlying technology, I'd like to talk more and more about the surface level experience and designing of the experience for multimedia. Now, once I've picked up this reference window here for gravity, I can, at my leisure, kick that up and make it the dominant screen. Notice I moved quite a bit of information in a pretty short period of time. And this is pretty standard encyclopedia stuff on gravity. Or I can put it back down, or I can say I've seen enough, and it flashes to let me know where I was, and I can go on. So again, the point is, and I'll come back and I'm not going to explain what I'm doing now. I'll come back to this in a moment. I just shifted representations. There's a biography on Einstein, for example. I clicked on Einstein's name, and
it follows from the special theory of relativity that mass and energy are both describe different manifestations of the same thing, a somewhat unfamiliar conception for the average mind.
The point of then, again, not so much to provide them the information, but to provide them the responsiveness. That's the key. That's the thing that we're pursuing. To be able to click a button, go right back to where I left it. In seconds, to be able to say, I want to find out more, see what's available. Notice that when I clicked on Galileo here, there's an author's note, biography, encyclopedia collaborations, images, sound. When I click on Newton, when I click on Einstein, notice that there's a difference in each case in the menus. Or Aristotle. Aristotle has a biography.
Now, let me ask you something at this point. Assuming somebody's in the Einstein menu and would like a representation which isn't there.
Okay, let's go into that. Let's go back to Einstein and say that rather than looking at it in terms of what is here, we have a dictionary. Say that I wanted to, well, let's look at the movie. And let's say that we didn't. So I might look at a movie here. But when I go back, I say, geez, I really wanted to see some of Einstein's more famous quotes, and they weren't here. So by depressing a key, which you can't see the way that the computer shows right now, I hit a command key and a mouse stroke, the window immediately pops up that says Einstein, feedback.
I see.
Quote, feedback. Now if I just hit a button right now, if I just clear the button, I have sent a message back to the designer of this course. Right? Depending on how I'm connected. It may just have put something to a disk that I have to mail, or it may have used a CompuServe uplink, or it may have, if I'm in the course of a network in a school or organization, have sent that directly to who was responsible for evolving this, this course. But what I've just done that quickly was say that I wanted these quotes that Einstein had to say. I remember something, I really wanted to hear it again or see it again. It wasn't there, and so I've sent that message. So again, let me close on this part of it, the quick reference part, by saying that we have the ability at any time, let's go take back to Newton for example.
If we're going to be using sound, if there's any way that you can turn up the volume so that people out there can hear, that would help.
Okay, sure.
And if you can't, that should become a design feature here.
It's already full up in terms of the internals of the Macintosh, so if there's something else going on, I don't know exactly what to do about it.
Anybody got a megaphone out there in the studio?
Again, notice that the interface situates itself according to the kind of information, whether it was a movie or whether it was a graphic, whether it's a biography or an encyclopedia, plus the main text or the main information that it was related to, that the system situates itself to accommodate what's being brought up, and that at any given time, as I point back on the book, kind of reset the book metaphor, boom, I come right back, the word that I triggered on, or the phrase that I triggered on, was highlighted, because it works with phrases as well as words or terms. I come right back. So again, the idea, like the learner scope that we spoke of before, this idea that when I encounter something that I need more, that I can drop through the crack, drop right through the surface of whatever that is, that word or term or phrase or piece part, get response immediately, to be able to intuitively navigate the kind of response. If there's not something that will fulfill my meaning need, be able to tell the system what it is I need in a way that will allow the system to learn from me. And this is what we call the situationally relevant response system. And this is independent of the content. If we go to